Humans generate power through rotation. When you look at sports, throwing a baseball, throwing a punch, swinging a sword, chopping wood, they are based on your ability to rotate well. A lot of people in the modern world have pain because they do not rotate all directions equally well. Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we're going to talk about the kettlebell outside circle. The kettlebell outside circle is an adaptation of a heavy club movement done with a kettlebell instead of a heavy club. Doing it with a kettlebell is riskier because a kettlebell is bigger in diameter than a heavy club is. A club is about 3 inches across. For the most part, they get bigger and smaller depending on where you are in the world, but a kettlebell is 8 or 9 inches across. So your technique on this needs to be very, very good so that you don't swing a giant heavy weight into the side of your knee. Consider that bad and just don't do it. So focus on all of your cues and work on it in other ways first. How we pick up and put down a kettlebell is important. Start with your feet pointed straight ahead. We step back 12 to 18 inches from our kettlebell. Our thumb points towards the sky. Our thumb will point down. If we mess something up with our pick up, with our clean, our elbow is not in danger. Get down to your weight. Weight is in your heels. Hand in the corner of the kettlebell. Push the weight back, snap up. Kettlebell clean. Our kettlebell rack position is different than barbell, different than dumbbell. We are not going to have a barbell wrist. If you try to do outside circles with a barbell wrist, you're probably gonna beat yourself up and you're gonna not like it, so do it the right way the first time. Pinky bone, wrist bone, elbow in a vertical line. Most people will try to do something like this and they will notice it hurts a lot. Don't do that. Wrap your elbow in. Think of it like putting your hands up in boxing. Think of putting your hand at the level of your chin. For an outside circle, our feet are pointed straight ahead. We are going to rotate our ankles, our knees, and our hips. Our hips will go 45, our spine will rotate 45, so we are about 90 degrees from straight ahead, the direction our feet are pointing. Rotate. There are 4 cues. Push, swing, pull, catch. Push, swing, pull, catch. Notice my feet did not move. Stand all the way up in the middle. When I start the movement, I rotate and I start from my legs, like every type of clean barbell, sandbag, dumbbell. We start with the legs, push, swing, pull, catch. Catch with the legs, rotate back to center, stand all the way up. It's the same cues that you have in Olympic lifting, just rotated. Rotate, start initiation with the legs, push with the leg, the force goes through your core, out your hand, push, swing, pull the weight in, elbow comes towards hip, stand all the way up, catch. This exercise is not basic. This exercise is advanced and you should stack this exercise on top of a bunch of other exercises. Specifically, the side to side clean, where you make sure that you are not going to hit yourself in the knee. Feet point straight ahead, grab our kettlebell, deadlift it up. We're gonna start to swing from side to side so you can figure out how to not hit yourself in the knee. Build up to parallel to the ground. This seems easy until the weight is 70 pounds, and you will instantly notice that there is a lot of core control involved in swinging weights. Outside means we're going away from our center line. Think of it like a jab in boxing. Rotate open, start with the legs, the hips move first, and we are going to push our arm out until we achieve elbow lock. We are not going to do this with a bent elbow, the same way you don't start any clean with a bent elbow. Push, swing, pull the elbow to the hip, catch. Holding up a weight is the hard part. Just like in any clean, the heavier the weight, the harder it is to stand all the way up. At the top, straighten your legs out, squeeze your glutes, drive your rib cage down so your abs are on. The heavier the weight, the more important. Rotate, push until elbow lock, swing, pull, and catch. Return to center, stand all the way up. When you are done with your reps, put it down safely. Push the weight back, drift it back in front, stand all the way up. With this exercise, we are not moving our feet, not at all. You can move your feet with light weights for things like kettlebell juggling, but the heavier the weight, the more we want to anchor into the ground. Different techniques are appropriate for different weights. With this one, think about not moving your feet. This is a natural deadlift stance, feet directly underneath our hips, and we are not going to turn out. When we turn out, it makes it difficult for us to rotate effectively because you'll see we're dipping the knee. That's not good. We want our feet straight ahead so we can rotate and sit with our knee. Knee health is important. Don't trash your knees. If you have flat feet, point your feet for sure straight ahead. With our feet straight ahead, we can rotate ankle, knee, hip. Our hips are 45. Then we rotate our spine. Push to elbow lock, swing all the way across. Pull elbow to hip, catch, return to center. This exercise is closest to a jab in boxing. Imagine if you're standing at a bar and you can't move your feet and there's a bad guy on either side of you. You rotate, push straight out. It is a hip and leg exercise as much as it is an arm exercise. Rotate, push all the way to lockout. The thumb is pointed up. As it drifts down, the thumb will rotate across center line until the thumb is pointed up again. Pull all the way in. This is the opposite of an inside circle, which would be like a cross in martial arts. Jab away from your center line, cross towards your center line. All sports contain some type of rotation. Most people tend to be really good at dominant hand inside because that's the way that you throw a football, that's the way you throw a baseball. But if you do martial arts, you know that you need to be equally good with either leg forward and both inside and outside. So think that there are 4 rotations. Dominant hand towards the center line, dominant hand away, non-dominant hand towards the center line, non-dominant hand away. You'll see this in other types of throwing patterns. If you were to do throwing patterns with something like a throwing axe, you can throw across your body or you can throw outside your center line. All of that is determined by what type of throw you're doing. Humans throw better than anything else on the planet, so you should be really, really good at that. If it's not part of your training now, you should put it in. Outside circles, inside circles are your most important rotations with the kettlebell. You start with your basic kettlebell movements first. Your swing program, go up through 10 weights. Your clean and press program, go up through 10 weights. Your get-up program, probably 10 weights. Squats, snatches. After you get through your basics, then you start to work on your rotations. Usually this is all done with the club first, practicing our side-to-side swing where we learn to rotate well without moving our feet. Then we work on our outside circle, single arm moving away from our center line. And then inside circle toward our center line. Clubs are lighter because the center of mass is way out here away from your hand, but they are smaller in diameter than a kettlebell. So when you are learning, start with something smaller in diameter and build up. Your rotation needs to be really good. 178 to 180 degrees of full rotation from one side to the other side. If you rotate wrong and you push back, you will hack yourself in the back of the leg with a giant weight. Don't do that. If you don't rotate, you will hit yourself in the other leg. Don't do that. Going to the gym is fun, but if you work in a shop and you're working a 12-hour day, you oftentimes don't have time to drive to a gym, do a full program, fight with people for machines, and then get home. If you work in some type of construction industry, you need to focus on your job during the light time hours. So drag a kettlebell with you in your work truck, in your toolkit, and work before work, at noon, or after work right on site. Build up to 30 minutes without putting the kettlebell down, and learn to get the most useful types of movements that you can use in a work environment so that you can be strong and not hurt.